Hello my friends, welcome back. It's Steph from Lindy Stitches here to provide some nice cozy cross-stitch chat for your stitching chair. This is going to be a chill update of what's going on at Lindy Stitches. We're going to do a shop update of things that have landed and are new. I'm going to show you my personal projects. I have whips, finishes, new starts. So proud of the fact that I got one of my largest projects out of the closet and finally framed. A little bit of news to share. I have questions that were submitted on Instagram like 3 weeks ago, so we've got plenty to cover. I promise to be as entertaining as I possibly can. Let's get started first with a shop update. So we have some new things to share with you that have recently come out. I'm going to start with such a practical and inexpensive addition to maybe your stitching setup. A lot of you love the It's So Plaid project bags by It's So Emma. And we haven't carried them before, but when they came out with this new size, I just bit the bullet and ordered 11 colors. These are the mini Mad for Plaid bags, and I know a lot of you probably have one of these in the much larger size. I fell hard for this size for, well, a lot of reasons. They're inexpensive, like I said, $11.98. There's 11 colors, but I love the size because it's so versatile. I find the bigger ones a little bit too big for my taste. These, perfect. They would make a great container for a purse project, like a Mill Hill kit. You can stitch on them. I know a lot of you realize that, but you can stitch on these bags because they are a mesh, and I'm not sure what the count works out to, but you can monogram this for a friend. Just include it as an extra little goodie in your Stitchy Happy Mail to a friend. But I'm like talking so fast. But what I really love them for, and I just started doing this with some of my bigger, more involved projects, is to stick them inside of your bigger fabric project bags. So this is one of my project bags. I know a lot of you use this size. Most of us have plenty of these. But what started to kind of get on my nerves is if the project has a bunch of floss, especially if it's all on bobbins, I don't like it all jumbling around and my threads getting scuffled. You know what I'm saying? So what I love to do is put my project threads and my scissors, my extra needles, my ripper, if I think I'm going to need it, in one of these smaller bags, and then just easily tuck it inside. And then what's outside of that is just my pattern and my project itself. It just keeps everything nicer, and it's not all jobbly. Yeah, there's 11 colors. I'm showing you my favorites. The green is called Jade, and this one is called Berry, but there's so many colors you can match every project if you really wanted to. You got a glimpse of the next thing I wanted to show you. We do carry Mill Hill kits. We have a small selection. Mill Hill has thousands of different kinds of kits. We just kind of carry the ones that are in Lindy Stitches' taste, but of course I fell hard for this one, which is called Honey. It's in their Autumn Harvest collection, but this could go spring, summer, or fall. Very, very cute. I like Mill Hill kits for travel. The perforated paper is easy to see in the car if you struggle with motion sickness like I do and not being able to see your linen very well when you're in a jostling vehicle. Mill Hill kits are great. Next up, I will pop up a picture. We added 4 more colors of Fabrics by Stephanie, Linen, and Ada to the shop. These are some really great colors. We did restock our Juniper fabric, which is the color used by Hands On Designs Botanical Bee, and also inspired by Hands On Designs' latest releases, we stocked Driftwood, which is the dark brown. This color is going to be used with the folk series from Hands On Designs, so if you have that spring folk pattern, this is the called for linen. We stock these colors in 32 count linen and 16 count Aida. We have more fabric from more dyers coming, and we are trying to expand not only our color selection, but also our counts in Aida and linen and even weave. So much more fabric news to come. Last up, if you didn't see yet, Artsy Housewife released 4 new patterns. How? I don't know. They're awesome. You can take a look at them here on the screen. We have, oh my gosh, this flower pot sampler is, I think, the stunner of the group. But a lot of you have also fallen for Beach Rat, the seagull pattern, which is, I think, our second bestseller so far of these new releases. You can find these on lindystitches.com, and we will have these in stock to ship out soon. So I'm going to talk a little bit more shop news towards the end, including the story of shutting down my Etsy shop and other things to other random things that have happened around here, and projects that we're working on. I will talk more about that in the end of the video. I can't wait to share with you my personal projects. I've been having a lot of fun. I've worked on nearly every work in progress that I have going right now since I saw you last, but I'm just going to show you the ones that I have significant progress on. Let's start with 2 new starts that I'm having so much fun with. So Easter came around and I was feeling a little bit spontaneous. I also had bunnies and rabbits on the brain because of a recent trip that I had taken with my daughter where there were wild bunnies everywhere and they were just so cute. So I really wanted to start something with bunnies to think about our trip and because bunnies are adorable. I have had this in my stash forever. And when something has sat so long in my stash, maybe you're not like this, but when I've had something for a decade, I start to think I will never actually stitch it, and that's really where this magazine was, even though I have had this, earmarked for quite some time. But I just randomly started it one day, so you never know. You just never know what's going to happen. This is called Close Encounter, and it is from the Leisure Arts magazine, August 1994. Leisure Arts magazine is an old crafting magazine, so they do have, it's mostly cross-stitch, but we also have, projects like the tea jacket bouquet. If you want to crochet some tea jackets, which, that's a new phrase for me. Need some iced tea jackets for your cold iced tea. Well, Leisure Arts magazine had you covered. It's mostly cross-stitch, but yeah, there's some random crafts thrown in here from time to time. I am going to show you some funny things in this magazine because I enjoy going through these. I won't be a total snarky smart aleck as I enjoy to be. But I decided to start this on Aida, and here's where I am. I like stitching on Aida for these denser, more confetti, heavy, full coverage type projects. Most of the time I do stitch on linen, but I do not regret starting this on Aida at all, especially because the chart is very difficult to read and follow. And I think stitching with Aida just removes one little obstacle out of my brain. This chart is really hard to see, and I've even photocopied. I'm going to show you a corner of it, but I have even photocopied. I know I'm breaking Flosstube rules here. If anyone could actually stitch from this chart from a screen, kudos to you. I can hardly stitch from it in person. I did blow it up and everything. I think it's the combination of weird symbols that are not super clear, and also being colors, and for them relying on your eyes to be able to distinguish the colors. The worst part is right here. One of the symbols is black with speckles, and there's a very dark brown with speckles. And when these symbols are next to each other, my eyes are totally bugging out. I can't tell which one's black and which one's dark brown. We're doing fine though. We're forging ahead. I love this. It's probably halfway done, and it's been very enjoyable to see come together. Lots of colors. These charts are an adventure sometimes. Let's do a little quick tour. I know you guys enjoy this too. So again, this is 94. I find these magazines, like there's different categories that these patterns fit in for me. Like, I think this is just classically cute. This stands the test of time. Obviously, other patterns don't so much stand the test of time, and sometimes I think it's just a matter of like cross stitch design technology and how we thought about like back stitches and quarter stitches. We needed some development, you know, in 1994, and here is an example of that. I won't mention the designer because I'm not praising this chart. I think, you know, whoever the designer is would probably agree that those horses' legs probably need a little work. So I'm not making fun of the subject matter, but that is a really chunky silhouette. Am I right? It's just... I've never seen a horse with cottage cheese legs. But also there are patterns in here that I just find very nostalgic because they are so 1994 that for me it's kind of warm and fuzzy, because patterns like this, like I can imagine hanging in my kitchen as a child, and because they have that nostalgic connection for me, I feel like I would stitch this and I would happily hang it up, because I don't know, the checkerboard, like I think this is cute. It was part of a series, and here are the other designs. I know some of you are older than me, and maybe you have these designs stitched up in your kitchen. This one is just for kicks. Republican and Democrat Party of the Truly Awesome, with the teddy bear photo prop. Yep. These, see, I think these are 90s cute. Can we just say that that's what they are? 90s cute. I like them. We have the tea jacket bouquet, some more crochet, some more teddy bears. Oh wow, yeah. So in the 90s, we were also, when I say we, it wasn't we, it was, hey mom! Painting wooden wares. I remember my mom doing this, although with more skill than this. I still have some like wooden magnets that my mom painted back in the painting wooden wares 90s era, but here's one of those craps. But yeah, I love going through these because they are so nostalgic and funny to look at. Iron transfers. Yes, I had me some iron transfer sweatshirts back in 94. Good stuff. Would you like a vintage magazine feature? Because I have hundreds of them. My next new start was, again, totally spontaneous. I got to take a trip sort of last minute, and I didn't like have a good travel project. I have specific things I'm looking for when I choose what project I want to bring to travel with, and I didn't have anything that I thought was good going at the time, nor did I have anything that I thought was good for travel, like kitted up and ready to go. But I pulled it together. I spent way too long of my limited packing time trying to kit up a new project. But in the end, I settled on White Winter Moth by Cathy Barrick. And this, my friends, is a great travel project, in my opinion. It's not huge. It only has 5 or 6 colors. The motifs are easy to stitch, and I am loving this. Now, the first surprise I had when I kitted this project up was I thought this was white and black, and this is a copy of the pattern cover, but even the pattern cover, it kind of looks white, black, and gray, which I was cool with. That's really what I was going by. But then when I pulled the MPIs, I had a delightful surprise because it is not white and gray. It is green. And it's not only green, it's like my favorite shades of green of all time. So if you were thinking DMC, this is like DMC 500, 501, 924, 927. Top favorite DMCs. Yes. Top favorite greens. And this indeed did turn out to be a very delightful travel project. I started it on Persimmon Linen by Fiber on a Whim, and that green on the persimmon, I mean, maybe it's not a color combo everybody would go for, but I think it's beautiful, and I think this project is going to go great. I adore this color linen. This is beautiful. I've ordered it for the shop because it's so unique. It's just a brownie pink. I am in my dusty pink era. Like, dusty pink is my favorite color right now. And this is just really gorgeous, and I'm having a great time. I had 2 complete finishes since I saw you last, one of which I actually managed to get into a frame already. Yay! Because I wanted this on the wall ASAP. This is one of my top 10 projects. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's nostalgic for me because it's attached to some nice memories. But it is Forest Home by the Blue Flower. And this is how it turned out. I'm in love. I am in love. I stitched this on 32 count Spending Amnesia Linen by Mystic Fabrics. That's a color that we keep in stock at the store. And I stitched it using the called for colors. And they all pop so nicely off of that mint green. It's crazy. I love this. I decided to replace the quote in the middle with a Mary Oliver quote. Mary Oliver is one of my favorite poets, and she has so many good quotes about nature that I couldn't help but go back through all my highlights in her poetry and just pick one that I thought matched this piece. But it says, "Let me keep company always with those who say, 'Look,' and laugh in astonishment and bow their heads." I forgot to mention in my video that you can find the recharting of the middle box only on my website, lindystitches.com. Janine was totally fine with me doing that, so if you would like just the middle box recharted, you can go to my website and search for Forest Home, and that freebie will pop up. And Janine of the Blue Flower is one of my friends. I love her, and I felt like that quote described her as well. She's a nature lover, she's an animal lover, and I just love this piece. I think it's so perfect. All of the animals, and yeah. Okay, so there's Forest Home. Very enjoyable stitch. Loved it. It has a nice amount of like fill-in with the deer and the tree. These bow motifs are easy to get the hang of. It's just gorgeous. It's just perfect. I love it. The other finish I had is timely because we are out mulching and weeding and making garden plans. I was finally able to finish Garden Sampler by Carriage House Samplings. This was a super fun stitch, you guys. And I feel like it went pretty quickly. You could just do like a letter or an animal a day and you could get this done pretty quickly. It's like a sizable finish because it's tall, but it's fun. It has a lot of different colors in it. You know, it's got that fill-in if you need, on the bottom, if you need some mindless stitching that night. I stitched this on 32 count Spearmint by Forbidden Fiber Co. I'll stand up. Just a nice mint, very light mint color. But all the motifs in this are so cute. That frog sitting on the fern. Are you kidding me? The grasshopper, I absolutely love the grasshopper. The rabbit, adorable. That little lemon. It's so good. It's just so good. It's so quirky and cute, and I love it. I used all the called for threads for this sampler except for a couple changes, the most significant of which is that I replaced the vine and leaf colors, which the vine is one color and then the leaves are all two colors. They all have like a little vein in them. I went and replaced all of that with one thread, and it's a highly variegated green to blue. By Thread Gatherer called Coastal Seaweed. So like you can probably see, yeah, you can see that that's like a mossy green to like a turquoise blue. And then for the leaves, I just went in circles. I went in circles and it just kind of created like a shading on all of the leaf, like and they're all different and interesting, and I thought that was just a fun way to play with one of these more highly variegated colors. I've been having a lot of ideas. I need to collect all of my ideas for using these kind of crazy-ish threads because now we have a lot of them in stock, and I think about different ways to use them, and so I'm hoping that's a video to come, different ways that you can incorporate these really variegated flosses into your stitching because they're really fun to use. I have two works in progress to share with you before I show you my amazing framing job. First up is Blackbird Fraktur by Plum Street Samplers. This is a pattern from a few years ago. I started this in August for an anniversary start. And I am almost halfway. Gave it some love. Started that big candelabra in the middle and did that acorn and another flower. I love how this looks. It's so graphic. It stands out so nicely against that caramel linen. This is Caramel by Seraphim Fabrics. I love this color linen because it's not dark, but it has some warmth to it. So it's like a warm neutral. I adore it. Look how good that looks. That moon took forever. And that's all I have to say about that one. Next up, someone asked me how I was getting along with this whip on Instagram, and I hadn't stitched on it in quite some time. And when they asked me, I was like, oh, I should get that out. This is Carrot Cake by Carolyn Manning. And I think everyone should do a Carolyn Manning design and see if you like it. Because they're so fun. The color play is really amusing, but it's also really relaxing stitching, and I think this project is going to take me forever. Here's where I am. I'm stitching this on 32 count Winter Moon linen, and Winter Moon is a very, very, very pale ecru. So it's not white, it just has a tiny hint of yellow to it. But I love the colors. Like these are just my colors. To me they read spring and fall at the same time. I like this project. I just find it a little bit boring. Like it doesn't hold my interest for very long. I do a few diamonds and then I'm like, I need some brain stimulation. But yeah, I'll just keep picking away at it, and eventually it will be done. When I'm 82. I need you to do like a 10-minute drum roll so I can tell you about my amazing from the closet finish. But first of all, let me share with you my hot tip, because this project is huge. It's one of my largest finishes, and I never thought I would get it framed because it is so large and it deserved a really nice frame, and I am cheap and I didn't want to spend you know, over $300 to frame it. So it has been hanging in my closet, and sometimes I prettily hanged it in my closet so I could actually look at it and appreciate it. But my biggest tip on finding frames, even large or oddly sized frames, is to text yourself the dimensions of your under the bed or in the closet finishes. So when you finish them, just go ahead and measure them and text it to yourself. Also, carry a small measuring tape in your car or in your purse so that when you're at the thrift store or the antique store and you see a frame and you wonder, would that fit anything I have in my under the bed box? You just have to look on your phone and you'll be able to see. So here's Mushroom and Fern, and that is exactly what happened. I was out at the thrift store. I saw a big gold square frame, and I thought, would that fit Mushroom and Fern by Chatelaine? And indeed, it did. Now, is it the most sturdy, elaborate, gorgeous finish that Mushroom and Fern probably deserves? No. But you know what? It's in my home, and I love it, and guests stop by and they actually like get up to my finish of this and they look at it, so it's very gratifying. It was $8. My cheap heart could not be happier. So here is Mushroom and Fern. So this is just a lightweight gold frame. It's a square and it fits Mushroom and Fern. And I framed this myself. It has no glass. It has sparkly beads. And she is finally sitting in the place where she deserves in all of her glory. So you can see it right when you come in the house. You can see that this takes up half of my body. But Mushroom and Fern is on the wall, and I couldn't be happier. And she'll probably just sit in this $8 thrift store frame until it gets taken back to the thrift store by, you know, my relatives after I have passed. But super happy to have this on the wall. All right, let's talk a little bit Lindy Stitches shop news. Not new products, we already covered those, but we have been very busy. I want to be a website that you enjoy shopping on. So we added Dinky Dyes to our thread lineup. We have 2 more thread lines that we are adding and are in the process of adding. But in adding those thread lines, we're not satisfied with the photos. So we want to provide beautiful, luscious, accurate photos of what you're browsing through. Which shouldn't be a novel concept, but it is. And I don't say that to like bash anyone, but we need better photos. So in the last week, we were able to complete almost all. There are still, I think, 5 threads that I'm waiting on to photograph, but we have photographed almost all of our Dinky Dyes threads, and I am probably showing some of those to you on the screen right now. The difference between the previous photos, which were the provided photos, and the ones that we took, I hope is obvious. I'll show you some comparisons here. And again, I'm not here to I'm not here to crab on anyone. I want shopping to be fun, and I also want you to know really what things look like so that you can have fun shopping. Like when you're making thread conversions, it's hard enough to, even when you have a good photo, do it on a screen. And so, yeah, here's Dinky Dyes, and here's how beautiful they really are. I hope you enjoy that. We hope to be able to get all of the thread lines properly photographed in this manner so that you can really take a good gander and just enjoy shopping and really know what you're getting. So yeah, we have a lot of work to do. I want to re-photograph all the classic colorworks, the Weeks dye works. NPI is now on our website, but we don't have the Lindy Stitches photos taken of that yet. So the work to do is kind of daunting, but we already did a whole thread line. So I feel kind of encouraged by that, and I love the results. It's just so beautiful because these supplies are beautiful. So yeah, we're working on that. I also worked on improving the searchability and the filtering functions of the website. So now when you go to fabric, you can sort by maker, by count, by size of the piece. You can really narrow down, search by color. We have it all mapped out so that you can easily find what you're looking for. Our patterns are also searchable like that. We have different themes, designer, subject, season, so that you can shop easier and have more fun. I am visiting Denver in August. Beth Twist and I are going to be co-hosting a class at a stitching shop. If you have never been to Denver, Colorado, I highly recommend it. It is a beautiful place to visit. Yes, so if you would like to hang out with Beth and Steph in the beginning of August, I will have the link down below where you can visit a stitching shop and find out all of the weekend details. I would love to see you there. The last thing is kind of random, and I just wanted to tell you about it. I thought you might find it a little interesting, but I decided to shut down the Lindy Stitches Etsy shop. It has been just running in the background. It just had my PDFs on it. It has only had my PDFs on it for the last few years since I opened my own website and kind of migrated all of my physical products off. In fact, I was kind of trying to use my Etsy as a, hey, this isn't really where you find me, come to my website sort of thing. I don't know if it was actually doing that, but my PDF sales were, they were okay, but nothing to, pay any major bills with. And I just shut it down. Kind of didn't even have any feelings about it, which was a little surprising. Etsy is where I started my business in 2015. I listed my first patterns. So yeah, I had a lot of special business milestones on Etsy. Very grateful to them for being a safe space where people can start businesses. And I grew in confidence as a businesswoman and as an artist on Etsy. So really thankful for their part in the Lindy Stitches story. However, Etsy is just not what it used to be. I sound like an old timer, times have changed. It ain't what it used to be. But it really isn't what it used to be. There's so many not handmade products on there, and there are so many things getting ripped off and stolen on Etsy, and Etsy doesn't seem to crack down on it at all. A lot of designers kind of agree with me in that I think it's a place where a lot of sites go to just buy the PDF once and then re-upload it to sell it themselves illegally, or upload it to a free sharing site where people just rip off artists and share all the PDFs. I think Etsy is where a lot of people go to commit crimes like that. And that's not something that we can really control as artists, but I just don't like the ickiness of it. So that's another reason why I decided to just fully get off Etsy. And Lindy Stitches can stand on her own 2 feet without it. And so thankful for it, but it's the end of an era. So goodbye to Etsy and hello to lindystitches.com. Alright, the super fans are still with me. We have one section left, and that is answering just a few questions that I got on my Instagram through one of my stickers, you know, wondering if you had any questions. And one is about another fiber art, and I am prepared to answer. So, Destined to Knit said, I was a knitter, capital K, for decades, then came back to cross stitch. Now many stitchers are returning to knitting. Do you have any feelings or comments? Do you feel drawn to the dark side that includes knitting? Well, Destined to Knit. I am not a knitter, nor have I ever been a knitter. In fact, before I designed cross-stitch patterns, I was super into crochet, and I actually thought I would get into crochet pattern designing. I designed a baby blanket, and I kind of, I don't know, I wasn't super satisfied with how it felt to design my own crochet pattern. And then I found cross stitch, and then I totally gave up all crochet. But this is my latest whip. I decided I wanted to make another blanket. So I ordered my favorite inexpensive yarn, and I got to work. And here's my whip. I'll just show it to you. To answer your knitting question, I tried to teach myself how to knit a couple different times in my life, and it just never kind of took. But I love crochet. And so here's my blanket so far. I just ordered my favorite colors. See that dusty pink? And I am, making myself a blanket. I think this is called the square stitch. I don't know. But yeah. So here's my little basket. Jason saw it sitting in the living room, and he's like, oh, that feels nostalgic for you to have a basket of yarn by your chair again. But yeah, I'm having fun just having a different fiber art to do when I need to relax. It's very mindless. The stitch is really easy to do. It kind of flies along, and I've been enjoying crocheting again. The True Thread asked me, how much time do you spend designing on average per month? Yeah. This is one of those questions that's hard to answer because I don't necessarily time myself when I'm designing, but designing for me doesn't happen every month, and maybe that's surprising. I go through stages. I don't think I designed hardly anything from November to April. Hardly anything. Because I was just in a different phase of the production in the business. But lately, I've been designing hours a week. So right now I'm working on fall and Christmas, and I will spend just a lot of time working on those designs. So I don't know, like 10 to 12 hours lately, 10 to 12 hours a week of just working on designs. And then once those designs are like being model stitched, I'm going into a different phase of keeping the business running. So I really wish, sometimes I wish it could be like every Monday I spend 6 hours designing, and that's the same through the whole year. But I've come to realize that's just not how I work. I like to really like focus in seriously on something and then kind of let that rest and work on the pattern formatting and the product ordering and photography and social media at a different time, work on the jingle ball at a different time. So yeah, that's how I work. I can't just like dedicate, when the inspiration comes, it comes, and when it's not there, you get to work on other areas of your business, and I think that is also enjoyable. Last question is from Pearlmore Knits, who asked, Stephanie, what do you do in your free time when you are not cross-stitching? What do I do? Well, my biggest hobby is that I have 3 children, so I take care of those human beings. I am a reader. I love to read books. I garden, although I'm not sure, I've never felt like a competent gardener. I'm kind of an ignorant, but I'm just having fun gardener. I stick things in the ground and I see what happens, and then sometimes I just even rapidly forget what I've previously stuck in the ground and what happened, so it's just like a new adventure for me every year. Jason and I host a reading group. This is where it might get a little weird for people, but it's kind of random. I love the author Charles Spurgeon, who was a preacher in the mid-1800s in London. He has a famous devotional that people still tend to read today called Morning and Evening, but he was an amazing preacher, and he really helped me through a time of trial and suffering last year, just like so encouraged me. So every other Tuesday we have dinner with our friends and we catch up with each other's lives and we discuss a Charles Spurgeon sermon. It's really nice and I really enjoy it. I'm also a CASA volunteer. A lot of people don't know what that is, but it stands for Court Appointed Special Advocate, and my job is to the judge of my county assigns me a case where children have been displaced, either into foster care or into a relative's care, and there's a court case about what has happened to these children, and the judge assigns me to kind of be his eyes and ears and advocate for the children. So when the court cases come for their custody or whatever is happening with them, I'm kind of his ears on the ground. I get to know the adults involved in the case, whether that be parents or other caregivers or foster parents, and the teachers. Basically, I need to know what's going on with these kids and what is best for them, and then when the court case happens, I write up a report about how the children are doing and what I think should happen with their placement, what's best for them. So it's a really cool thing. If you are interested in helping out children who are kind of in the midst of trauma, it's easy to do, and it's a good way to serve your community. Most states have these kinds of programs, so you might want to look into that if it sounds interesting. We go to church. I exercise. I'm just a normal person, and I don't do much that's remarkable, but I'm thankful for my life. I hope you're thankful for yours, and I hope that you get to spend lots of time doing the things that you like, and that you get to read encouraging books too, and you get to exercise and take walks. You know what's funny about exercising is I get my best ideas in the middle of a workout, and sometimes that's worth the blood, sweat, and tears of exercising. So if you need a little inspiration or you're feeling depressed and down, maybe take a sexy mental health walk. All right, well, that wraps it up. I hope that you enjoyed your stitchy time with me, and that you're enjoying your craft in the beginning of spring, or perhaps the beginning of fall. If you're in the Southern Hemisphere, you're in my favorite season, so enjoy every minute. I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me, friends. Bye.